What's up, everyone? Hope you're all having a good afternoon. Find yourselves in good health and in good spirits. Today's message is for the Raza. This is Raza News, episode something. And it's not a good episode, unfortunately. I do have a story for a good episode about a Harvard scholarship, but we'll get to that later. Today is what I've been seeing in the news, and I'll concede that maybe because of what I've searched for and what I've watched, that an algorithm is feeding me this stuff. But I do think it's also national news because I'm seeing it on like regular news channels. So here goes. A while back, there was a shooting in the Central Valley where a baby was killed along with several other family members. I heard the sheriff paint the problem to include loose borders and the flow of guns. To the best of my knowledge, guns flowed the other way, not from Mexico here. But he was trying to make it an immigration issue. Everybody was American born. More recently, the town of Davis, which is host to UC Davis, University of California at Davis, is a nice little enclave of academic folks. And UC Davis does have one of the best veterinary programs in the nation. They do a lot of, great work around climate change. And so in some ways, they're known nationally and internationally. It's always been known as a safe little place. It's between Sacramento and San Francisco. It's the first town you'll hit after you leave Sacramento and go through West Sacramento, and then you'll cross this causeway, and then there's Davis. They had someone that was going around stabbing people and killing them. 2 people died who were, by all accounts, like just incredibly wonderful, great people. Real contributions to humanity in the world. One was known as the compassion guy because that's what he did. He preached compassion for people. The other one was like a stellar student who had just won an award. Seemed like a kind, caring person. Wonderful people, deserved much more than the death they suffered, right? And then the third person also seems like a wonderful person. She was homeless, and he came and stabbed her through the tent. She lived, but the person they caught is from El Salvador. He was a young kid who seems like he wanted to get caught, like he had some type of mental breakdown. And it's come up that he arrived here as an unaccompanied minor, which is a phrase you often hear on the news, and that, immigration proceedings were dropped against him, and he was going to school to be a doctor when all this happened. In Texas, in San Jacinto, you hear that this guy is shooting off his gun. He'd been deported several times already. Again, his immigration status comes up. His neighbors ask him to please keep it down, and he kills, I think, five members of one family, as well as wounding many more. Their immigration status came up. They were Hondureños. He was Mexican. I don't know if they were painting a picture of like this inner Latino community beef or what have you, but both of those things were part of the news stories I heard. Fast forward a little bit, there was a car that plowed into a bus stop full of Venezuelan immigrants who were being housed at this like homeless shelter because they had just arrived here seeking asylum. They said when he got out of the car that he started insulting them based on like their immigration status and them being here. Right now, the police have only charged them. They haven't charged a hate aspect to it, but they haven't discounted it either. Although they're starting to say he lost control. Then you had the shooter at the mall in Texas, who is named Mauricio Garcia. Mauricio is on social media had, white supremacist sympathetic views, sympathetic views to Nazism. And I made a video about Raza being the new face of white supremacy in some places. And there's probably white supremacists who are like, don't agree with that either. But, Nick Fuentes is a famous person of, Latin descent who promotes the same things. And so that one was kind of interesting. The people he shot, except for the security guard, were all people of color. This is Mauricio Garcia. Mauricio, his name actually means a dark person. But, you can have a dark soul and be pale as hell. So that, in a nutshell, is a lot of violence by a lot of Raza. To boot, the news media was also showing me the images coming across my screen showed Cinco de Mayo celebrations, and the highlight wasn't really the families at the parks. At least that's not what was on my screen. And again, I recognize that this is only my worldview. This is not. I'm not one of them people that are going to say my worldview is everybody's worldview, and this is how it is across the board for everybody. I didn't see images of people in the park celebrating with their kids and doing fun things. And I know those things happen because on social media, I saw the lowrider community posting videos of people gathering and being cool and kicking it and showing off their cars and eating and, being with their families. Nothing like all just love. But on the news, I saw sideshows and how the community was mad about them. And it was part of Cinco de Mayo celebrations, as they were saying on the news. And sure enough, you see the cars doing the donuts, and they got these big old Mexican flags out of them as they're burning up the streets, right? That's the images being flashed to society. These things will come up, I believe, as we get closer to 2024. Even Biden is starting to take more hardline stances. I expect it's only going to get worse with Title 42 set to expire real soon here. And so that's the news. You got Raza, who identify as white supremacists, blasting people of color. You got people of color, Raza blasting other Raza for no apparent reason. Got Raza killing, the protected class, the society, the people that lived in the insular world that leave their doors open and go for walks in the evening on deserted roads, more afraid of a fucking lost cougar, and not them hot professorial kind. I'm talking about the kind, a panther, a puma that'll jump on your ass on the back of your neck, break it, and pull you up a tree and eat you. More worried about that than a serial killing, Raza. And so It's it's what I'm seeing in the news, and I think, it's not good messaging. So on my next Raza news, I'll talk about this kid Raza who got a full scholarship to Harvard and kind of what he went through to get there, and highlight a few of those just to counterbalance a lot of what's coming across America's TV screens. Anyways, much love. Have a good one. Take care.